there's no one in the forest watching them. Suddenly, an arrow comes flying and pierces through both of their bodies. They don't understand what's happening. Then, another arrow strikes and gouges out Sophie's eye. She dies right there. Seeing that, Brent tries to escape. Just then, Alex arrives at the scene. Three Finger was eating Sophie's eye. Witnessing that, Alex hides quietly. Trey shows up carrying some firewood. Three Finger attacks him. Trey runs into the forest, trying to save his life, but Three Finger catches and kills him. Brent also falls into a trap and dies. Out of all of them, only Alex survives. Next, we're shown a jail in West Virginia. Some inmates were scheduled to be transferred to another prison. This task was assigned to police officers Nate, Walter, and Preslow. The inmates being transferred were Brandon, Crawford, Floyd, Willie, and Chavez, the head of a mafia organization. Everything was being done because of him. The police received intel that Chavez's men might attempt a hijack along the route to rescue him. That's why they decided on an emergency transfer and even changed the route. Their new path was through Paper Mill Road, a road you're already familiar with. The officers and inmates boarded a prison bus and set off. Later that night, they stopped at a police station. At the station, we see two police officers. Meanwhile, we see Three Toes, the nephew of Three Finger, who you might remember from Wrong Turn 2. He was setting up a trap, but since he's still young, he ends up getting caught in it himself. Three Finger arrives and helps him out, and then together they set up traps and leave the area. Back at the police station, after taking a break, the officers and inmates continue on their way. As they head down Paper Mill Road, a truck starts following them. It's Three Finger. He uses razor wire to puncture the tires of the bus. The bus loses control and crashes down an embankment. Three Finger steps out of the truck and watches them, but he doesn't attack just yet. Nate gets all the inmates out of the bus. At that moment, Chavez takes advantage of the situation and grabs the gun from Nate. Just then, another officer points a gun at Chavez from behind. But suddenly, a knife flies in and stabs him in the throat. He dies on the spot. The other inmates assume it was Chavez's men who attacked. But then, someone starts firing arrows at them, proving it wasn't Chavez's crew after all. Chavez tells Nate to unlock his handcuffs, but Nate says the keys are in the bus. By now, the bus has caught fire and could explode at any moment. Walter is still inside. Nate goes back into the burning bus to grab the keys and manages to save Walter just in time. However, he can't get the keys. Even so, Chavez doesn't kill Nate, because Nate is their only hope of getting out of the forest alive. As they were moving forward, suddenly a girl jumps out and attacks Nate. It turns out to be Alex, the same girl we saw at the beginning of the movie. She had survived. She tells them that a mutant lives in the forest, one that kills and eats people. But no one believes her. Alex then tells them about the rafting incident. Chavez orders her to take them to the spot where the rafting happened. As Alex leads them toward the raft location, they come across a van that had crashed and flipped over. The door was locked. Chavez tells Nate to break the lock. When Nate checks inside, he finds a gun and a set of keys. He quietly hands the gun over to Walter. When they finally manage to open the van door, they discover a huge amount of cash inside. Seeing that much money drives everyone crazy. Chavez tells everyone to carry 2 bags each. They all do, except Walter. Due to his injuries, he's unable to lift the bags. Seeing an opportunity, Walter points the gun at Chavez. But unfortunately, the gun is empty. Chavez doesn't forgive him. He shoots Walter in the head and kills him. Chavez orders everyone to move forward. Alex stays in front to guide the way. As they're walking, Alex steps into a trap, but Nate saves her just in time. The trap was the same one Three Toes had said earlier. He had been hiding nearby and uses the moment to attack the group. But Chavez shoots him before he can cause real damage. Alex tells everyone that he wasn't the mutant. Then Chavez gets a sinister idea. He leaves a gift behind and they move on. Later, Three Finger arrives and sees Three Toes' severed head mounted on a stick. Seeing this, Three Finger goes absolutely insane, even more than before. As the group continues moving, they come across some hanging objects. Chavez grabs one, but Alex realizes it's a trap and pushes him out of the way. In doing so, she sacrifices her own life. To show his twisted gratitude, Chavez cuts off her foot. Since they were all chained together, this would let them move faster without her. Meanwhile, at the police station, they find some leads on the college students who had gone missing 4 days earlier. Still, there's been no word from Nate, which raises concerns. They suspect the prison bus may have been attacked, so a search team heads out to investigate. Back in the forest, the prisoners arrive at an old cabin. Using some tools inside, they manage to break free from their chains. As they move forward, they come across Three Fingers' truck parked on the path. Everyone knows it's clearly a trap, but Chavez forces Crawford to go ahead anyway. As soon as Crawford steps forward, Three Finger snatches him using razor wire. Then he speeds off in the truck, dragging Crawford across the road until he dies from the brutal assault. Meanwhile, Floyd sees an opportunity and attacks Chavez. Taking advantage of the chaos, Nate and Alex escape. Chavez beats Floyd nearly to death, then leaves him behind as he and Brandon move on. Back on the road, the sheriff arrives at the crashed bus and assesses the situation. Realizing something's wrong, he sets out with his dog to search for Nate. Elsewhere, Brandon suggests to Chavez that they should stash the money for now and focus on finding Nate. They hide the money temporarily and track Nate down. As soon as they find him, Chavez starts beating him again. Nate trying to tell Chavez that there's a nearby tower where he can call for help and get them out of the forest. Chavez gives Nate one final chance, so Nate leads him toward the watchtower, claiming he can call for help from there. But when they arrive, they find the tower completely burned down. This is the same one shown at the beginning of the movie, the one the three mutant brothers had set on fire. With nothing useful there, Chavez prepares to shoot Nate. But just in time, the police dog attacks Chavez. The sheriff arrives shortly after and tries to take control of the situation. However, Three Fingers suddenly throws a spear from above, impaling the sheriff, entering from the front and exiting through his back. Chavez seizes the moment, grabs the sheriff's gun, and captures Nate again. He goes to retrieve the money, only to find that Floyd has already taken it and tried to escape. But as Floyd is fleeing, Chavez spots him, only for Three Finger to set Floyd on fire. The flames consume both Floyd and all the stolen money. Just when the remaining survivors attempt to flee the scene, Three Fingers suddenly returns in his truck, crashing onto the scene again, escalating the chaos even further. This time, Chavez throws Alex right in front of Three Finger and quickly flees the scene. Nate tries to go after them, but he's stopped. Then Brandon sneaks up behind Chavez and knocks him unconscious. After that, Nate and Brandon head off in different directions. Meanwhile, Three Finger drags Alex back to his cabin and ties her up. There, we also see Deputy Lynn, already captured and killed by Three Finger. Soon, Chavez regains consciousness and comes face to face with Three Finger. A brutal fight breaks out between them. Chavez lands heavy blows, badly disfiguring Three Finger's face, even more than before. But in the end, Chavez still can't overpower the mutant. Three Finger finishes him off in his gruesome signature style, removing Chavez's skull and eating his brain as a twisted celebration of his victory. Meanwhile, Nate finds the sheriff's dog and uses it to track down Alex. He manages to free her, and as they're escaping, Three Finger ambushes them. Just when he's about to kill Nate, Alex stabs him from behind with a wooden stake, and he goes down. They both get into a truck and try to drive away. But things aren't over yet. Three Finger suddenly appears in the middle of the road. Somehow he climbs onto the truck and grabs Nate, causing the vehicle to lose control and crash into a tree. The truck catches fire. Just then, Brandon shows up and manages to pull both Nate and Alex out of the burning vehicle. But Three Finger isn't done. He attacks Nate one final time. This time, Nate doesn't hold back. He drives a meat hook straight into Three Finger's skull and throws him onto the truck. Moments later, the truck explodes. Finally, we can be sure that Three Finger is dead. Nate lets Brandon go free, choosing to trust him. A while later, the full police force arrives, and Nate and Alex are finally rescued. But the picture isn't quite over yet. Days later, Nate returns, this time driven by greed. He goes back to the overturned van to retrieve the money. But just as he gets there, someone strikes him from behind. It's Brandon, the very man Nate had trusted and spared. Brandon begins collecting the money, but out of nowhere, another mutant appears. It attacks and kills Brandon on the spot. The screen fades to black. Who was that mutant? We never find out. If you like this video, please don't forget to subscribe and drop a comment below.